Mosaic gives you the opportunity to override all of the parameter settings within each individual cabinet. Many of the parameters are exposed to you through easy to get to functions. Others you can get to on the parameter tab in the product editor. It's best to use these when your overrides apply to the one cabinet only. So let's quickly look at overriding the parameters for a library cabinet. We simply click Libraries and Products, select the library that we want to use, and then of course all of the items appear here. We're in the product editor and we're editing the frameless cabinet library. The parameters have been set, which dictate how these cabinets are being built in general. We can go in and override any of these cabinets that we choose. For example, let's look at our appliance bases and perhaps the cooktop base. If we look at this cabinet, we can see that it's sectioned with a number of drawers and a false front. We look at the interior view, we can see we have a drawer stretcher between each drawer. We look at the parameter tab, we can see that the parameters are currently being overridden so that our base top parameter is set to have stretchers along the depth. So if we view that quickly in SketchUp, so as we can see in this cabinet, as opposed to running my stretchers along the width, the top, front, and back stretchers are being run front to back, so they're not in the way of the cooktop that will sit in this cabinet. And if we look at our parameters, normally the cabinets in this construction method, the stretcher is run along the width. But we've actually gone into the parameters and created a parameter override for this one cabinet which runs the stretchers along the depth. So that's one example of how you can override the parameters per cabinet, and one instance where it is useful to go into the library and actually modify how that cabinet's being built. Now let's place the cooktop in a job so that we can look at it on the wall. So we'll pull it into the job and move it into position. You can do that with the mouse obviously, or we can type in any of our center positions if we know we want that centered on the wall at 72 inches. It's pretty simple to get that done. And we'll, just for comparison, we'll pull out a standard base cabinet and a drawer bank. Now let's look at those three items in SketchUp. Now you can clearly see the difference between the stretchers in those three types of cabinets. It's also important to know that once you place a cabinet in a job, you're no longer modifying that cabinet in the library, you're now modifying the cabinet in the job. So we can go in and override any of the parameters or any of the configurations for the cabinets in this job without affecting the library cabinet. For example, if we took the cooktop base and let's move it over and let's go to Edit and let's change the parameter there, no top. And then let's take another cooktop base and put it on the wall beside it. So now cabinet 2 has been modified for this one job. So let's take a look at this in SketchUp. Now you can see that our normal construction runs our stretchers along the width. Our library cabinet has an override on the cooktop cabinet to run them from front to back. And even in this job we took and overrode that to actually eliminate the top altogether, or the top components altogether. So you have a lot of flexibility and total control over your cabinets, and you can generate overrides for your library cabinets or for cabinets that are placed in a job.